You know, something that I've really come to learn from the kids these days, since I'm an old head on the internet now, is that maybe it's okay to be a little more unhinged on the internet. You see, in the early days, we're talking MySpace, Tagged, Friendster, early Facebook, being cringe was something you would do anything to avoid online. And we were all cringe. That's the irony of it. But the idea that someone would see you as cringe, especially because the internet was this portal where you felt like you could be your true. Is my 3D printer going off? Where you felt like you could be your true self, where everyone in person might reject something about you, you would find a community that supported something about you online. So the idea that something about you was cringe on the one place that like you could be you was devastating to us when we were younger. And a lot of us were very much pushed, despite the irony of that, since the internet was the place we could be ourselves, to start sanitizing our personality, our presentation. And this rapidly escalated once content became a monetizable thing. Everyone, the entire internet raced to be as plain and normal as possible, to be as mass appealing as possible. I fell victim to this, although I did push back against it very early on. I'm talking over 10 years ago. I started making shifts to push against this in my own work. Kind of a finding your way. It was like a reset once you realized you had a big audience, and then you had to find your way back in that. But I think in 2026, a lesson I'm learning from the younger people making content these days is to just go all in on your weird. Any part of your personality that you've been suppressing, you can just let out there. And if anything, it will make it more appealing to the people watching. And that goes back to why we connected with people in the early YouTube days in the first place, because it feels authentic, because there is something to connect with and something to reject if there is something you don't like. And you can't feel like someone's a real human being if they are just a flat piece of paper. And like I said, while I have done a lot to push against those kinds of issues and sanitization in my own work, like heavily, even combating with brands I've worked with over it, I think I've very much felt locked into certain formats as my career has evolved, especially with main channel. Like main channel felt like it had to have specific requirements for format, for presentation, whatever, because it had grown so large and had expectations both from the audience but also from the brands I worked with, and then arguably mainly from myself. I wanted to do better. In 2026, my goal is going to be not to do better. It's going to be to do worse, to do weirder, to fuck shit up. I'm going to film stuff on vintage webcams and a microphone that if it doesn't unlock something deep within you, you've not been around on the internet long enough. I am going to make my stuff as weird and out there as feels right. And this is the key that I think a lot of young people will get caught up in, that I've seen browsing Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. A lot of people end up feeling pushed or forced. You can come up here. Cats are okay on the internet. Come on. There you go. A lot of people feel forced to put out this fake idea of authenticity and go hard on the weird hyper ADHD, OMG, so random, LOL, like we had back in the day, when it's not always appropriate for the thing being discussed, or it isn't true to that person. And so for me, not every video is going to be this crazy montage of Y2K effects and whatever, but some of them are. And like I'm thinking right now, I have a very expensive cinema camera on its way to me in a couple days. I am very excited to play with it, and of course I want to talk about it. I might go pseudo old school and film an unboxing of it, but I'm going to film it on a Handycam or on this webcam. And I'm going to be like, look, I bought this super expensive cinema camera so I can make it look like this. I don't know. I'm trying to find my way as I figure out how I want to pursue talking about my art in the coming year. And I think I'm learning that I need to eschew all ideas of formatting and just go all in on being as weird as humanly possible. Hope you stick with me. And I'm not going to be great at any of this. Because again, someone really felt like it resonated with them in the comments. So I'm going to remind you, you don't have to be good at something to do it. Sometimes doing it for the sake of doing it is all that matters. Remember to be kind, rewind. I'm keeping that on this channel too. This mic has a freaking mute button.